I was thinking about my emotions the other day. I remembered a I remembered a time when I was 7 years old, still a little baby. Well, I'm a baby. I'm just a baby. I was 7 years old. My grandma had passed away. I wasn't really sure what the whole death thing was. All I know was that a group of men were holding my grandma that was inside of a box. Then they were putting her into the ground. That's it. That's it. I was watching them do that. But when I was looking around, I had no emotion. I was more of it was more of a standstill, that as if time had frozen. But I do remember when I was looking around, I saw my sister crying. She was crying, crying. I didn't understand why she was crying, but to my surprise, I too started to cry. But I wasn't crying because I was sad that my grandma had passed away. I was crying because I saw my sister crying. That's how I knew in that moment that I still am an empath. Of course, at that time, my vocabulary wasn't that huge. I didn't know what the word empath was, but now I do. I experienced the experience of being an empath without even knowing that the word empath existed. To this day, I still, well, it's not as crazy, but when I do see someone crying, I start to cry. Especially if there's someone I personally know, but if it's like a stranger crying in a restaurant or a stranger that I see, as long as they're a stranger, I'm not gonna cry. But if I have some sort of emotional attachment to that person, then I'm gonna start crying. It's inevitable. Even when I'm singing, I cry. It's so strange. I take on other people's emotions. That's not really healthy. I'm not sure where I got that habit from, but it can't be healthy. I'm sure it's okay to sympathize, but to constantly empathize is something I need to work on. I need to work on that. When I was years ago, I'd go home. I'd fly back to my hometown every year. Without fail, dude, without fail. My cousins, three of my cousins would always ask me, they would always ask me, how do you live with your mom? How do you handle your mom? She's so strict. She's so strict. How do you live like that? Every time they would ask, my answer, from what I remember, would always be, I don't know. She's my mom. I don't know. I'm used to it. I don't know. Is she strict? I don't think so. Over time, that perception of my mom being strict domino domino affected onto my other cousins, who then reached other people within the family. So then my mom's stigma was, oh, that lady is so strict. She wants more than you give her. She's always asking for better. I don't know how her kids do it. I don't know how her children can handle a life like that, living with a mom like that. In the beginning, I wasn't affected by the opinions of other people, their emotions. They felt like my mom was difficult to deal with. At that time, me, no, I love my mom. She loves me. She's raising me the way she knows how in her own way. But as soon as I got into about high school, so it was at 15, 16, I began questioning, Is my mom strict? Is the way she's raising me a little bit too strict? So then, usually, typical humans, when a majority of the time, when someone is strict, no matter who it is, you tend to have some sort of idea about them, mainly negative ideas, negative thoughts about that person, especially if you don't know them. But in this case, I knew my mom. She's my mom. I've known her since the day I was born. But because other people had the idea, felt the idea that my mom is incredibly strict, I slowly transformed into one of those people who said, yeah, my mom is strict. That person is right. What they're telling me that about my mom is correct. I lost myself. Because they were angry, because they were frustrated towards my mom, I became angry. I became frustrated towards my mom. I was grabbing onto their emotions without even thinking about my own emotions. It's as if when I was a young child, 7 years old, I knew what I was feeling. But as I grew older, I lost my own sense of feeling. I lost my own mindset, my own way of thinking. So strange, isn't it? Very strange. So then that's how I would behave towards my mom ever since then. The only time, or when I started to take back my own brain, take back my own emotions, was when I was in my mid 20s to early 30s, which is now. I'm still learning to remove the emotions of other people, especially because I don't know how someone made you feel, but I know how someone made me feel. If you say someone is a terrible person, does me saying, yeah, I agree, they're a terrible person, even though I've never met that person, is that right of me to assume the same thing you feel? I don't think so. What helped me remove the idea of my mom is so strict, everyone thinks she's strict, is I dropped it. I changed the perspective. So in the perspective of other people, that's pretty much what it is, isn't it? Emotions are perspectives. Ooh, I'm getting so excited. I changed my perspective from my mom is so strict, she expects more from me. Nothing's ever good enough. That's what other people were telling me about my mom. But in my eyes, it's my mom telling me, okay, you've given me the world, but what else can you do? So now I take it as a way of inspiration, of momentum, of, okay, you've got the rocket launcher. What can you do with the rocket launcher? That's something I've learned to accept, that other people's emotions are their own perspectives. Their perspectives on something have nothing to do with me. I can learn from their perspective, but it's important for me to ground myself, to remember that those perspectives are theirs. I have my own brain. I have a right to use my own brain. But now, if you're to ask me, is your mom strict? Um, yeah, she is. She is. She is. She is. Okay, bye.